Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Full Circle Network. I'm editor-in-chief of FullCircleCinema.com, Jackson Hayes, and today we are here to review episode 9 of Stargirl, otherwise entitled Brainwave. Today I'll be joined by my managing editor, Marcos isn't here, head writer Jacob Campbell.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Marcos. Oh, sorry, my bad. Hey, everybody. I'm Jacob, the lead news writer over at
That's what
Full
it
Circle
is. You're the lead
Cinema.
news writer. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
lead news writer.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what
how
it
it
is.
is.
I
Yeah,
have a lot going
great
on.
to be
You
here
know,
this
I have a lot
week.
going
Wow. Okay, cool. Okay,
We're a
cool.
few days late on this. We had some stuff come up, so we just decided to delay this review, and I think that's kind of just indicative of our feelings on the episode a little bit, maybe. So I'll throw it to you, Jacob. You give your overall thoughts on Brainwave.
Yeah, that's honestly a good way to describe this episode. We didn't really have anything we really wanted to talk about with this episode. Definitely was a bit of a come down from the last two, with Shiv Part 1 and 2. Brainwave, it's a bit of a slower episode, honestly, and it didn't have as many like exciting moments as the previous one. It just, all in all, it felt kind of like a miss this week, and I don't know if it's just maybe I wasn't into it as much as I usually am, but just I was looking for more coming off of the high of the last two episodes. What about you, Jackson?
Yeah, it was definitely a mixed bag. There was, I feel, way too much going on. It kind of jumped all over the place, and then also, some of the things they were tackling just didn't pique my interest. The flashbacks, or not flashbacks, but the tapes that Henry King Jr. was watching of his father, discovering his powers, they were just a little repetitive for me, and it kind of was like, yeah, we get it, he's a bad guy. You're just showing us why, more so that he's a bad guy, and like his son is just kind of, I don't know. I just wasn't buying the whole reaction to everything, and I feel as if the fact that they never really showed Brainwave like read someone's mind and hear a good thing. Like every time he read someone's mind, it was a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's just maybe how he's using his powers or just the way he's deciding to go about it. I don't know. But clearly, his father will be happy with it because his father turned out the same way, basically through the same process.
Yeah.
But that being the crux of the episode, I just felt like it was kind of a letdown, if to put it simply.
I definitely agree with that. And what's kind of disappointing about that is that this mystery of what's on the tapes, what is it going to be, has been like kind of evident since like the first few episodes. We're like, oh my god, I'm excited to see what it is. It's going to be like this huge reveal, and then for it to just be kind of be Brainwave sitting there saying, "I'm evil, 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 evil." It's kind of lame. I just wanted more from it, and I definitely agree with your point that only every time Henry used his powers, he only heard like bad thoughts. I'm wondering if it's maybe because his dad put that thought into his head that these people are evil, think of them as like bad monsters, that's all he wanted to hear, and maybe that enforced in him what his father taught him. But it wasn't as exciting as I wanted.
Right, and we can, because this was kind of started the episode and it sort of ended the episode. We can kind of get back to it, but when we get to the end of the episode, and this is spoilers. This is a spoiler review, so you should have watched it by now.
It's been out by now.
But But by the end of the episode, Henry is confronted by the lawyer who's trying to get money out of his father, and he ends up seemingly killing him. I pose the idea that potentially it was Brainwave himself who killed the lawyer, only because the only reason that Henry had gone back to the hospital is because he'd heard his father. So it's clear to me that his father had made some type of mental connection to him, whether that had woken him or that had just been able to manifest his powers in a coma, whatever it was. But clearly that Brainwave had some type of hand in creating the situation in which Henry killed this man or thinks he killed this man. And kind of, he kind of loses it in the hospital when Courtney shows up for a minute to try to talk to him about it. And it was just, Henry's been running around for, a few episodes just kind of with a headache, just being angry. And it's kind of the same problem I had with Rick early on when we first met Rick. He was just angry punching things for like 2 or 3 episodes. And I was like, it's not clicking for me. There's not enough nuance here. It's kind of like, I'm angry, I'm bad. It's like, well, yeah, but, like, why is it you're only hearing bad thoughts? Like, they're not, there's no deeper discussion than that. And it's like, well, maybe give us a little bit more here, and I would be able to latch on to the idea that his powers don't just manifest bad thoughts. I mean, obviously there's more to be explored with that. It's just right now it hasn't really sunk in for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Which it felt kind of like almost like a step back for Henry in this episode, because we know he's struggling with his powers and what it means for him, but he hasn't seemed genuinely like a bad person for the past few episodes we've seen. It's more so him struggling with what's going on around him, but never like, I'm evil, I'm going to do bad things with
Right,
my
because
powers.
we've known from the start that he's he's a deeper character than that, and like he doesn't like his father, and his father's abusive to him. And that's even something Courtney brings up when she goes to confront him. And even even the incident with Yolanda, that was Cindy's fault. Cindy did that. Obviously, he was in the wrong for showing anybody, of course.
Exactly.
But he's a stupid high school boy. That doesn't excuse it, but he didn't do what Cindy had done. He didn't send it to everyone in front of the whole school at a ceremony. Obviously, he wronged her, and he should atone for that. But and we can kind of get into where Yolanda plays in this episode, because Courtney goes to the team and tells them, which is something exciting for fans like us who know that Brainwave Jr. is a hero and not a villain. We know that at some point he could potentially join the Justice Society, and we're like, oh wow, so Courtney immediately wants to recruit him. So then I'm thinking, wow, maybe he'll turn and from the start, and kind of it'll be a little different than what I anticipate. But Yolanda immediately says, no, I don't want him involved. I don't want him here. And to her own right, that's fair. That's a fair reaction to have after what he did, what he was involved to doing with her. And it was just kind of like, wow. We kind of just jumped from there to her, like, wanting to murder him. Like, she confronts him in the hospital and wants to kill him.
I definitely understand her point of view on that, with wanting to kill him, because
killing
in her mind he's
dramatic.
But think about it this way: in her mind, he ruined her life. Like he pretty much killed the person that she was. Of course, she wants to kill him, and I fully understand that. That her.
I mean, that's a leap. That's a leap for me, at least. Killing, she's a high schooler. She's never all she's been given is slight power. She doesn't. But killing, I just think it's very.
This is the only time she's ever had like the power to hurt someone back, I think, in this way. And so, the idea of him possibly coming in and joining the team, it's almost. It feels wrong to her, and so I get where she's coming from with confronting him that way, but in the context of the episode, it just felt kind of out of place, like, and that's kind of like one of the other issues this episode had. It just stuff felt like it was in the episode that just it didn't flow right, and that was one scene that didn't really flow right. I understand her perspective, but in the episode, it just didn't fit as well as I would like it to have too.
Yeah, I think there's also another portion, we can talk about that here in a second, with the Machins, that was also a little bit, I don't want to say out of place. It was just kind of thrown in, and it was kind of out of, just kind of took me by surprise. But I mean, to wrap up Brainwave, I definitely think there's more going on with his dad than meets the eye. Obviously, he's going to turn back at some point. He's going to break good. We don't know what's going to cause that. It's potentially them trying to use him as a weapon. Maybe Brainwave isn't powerful enough after his coma to power Project New America, which they revealed in this episode to be mind controlling the Midwest of the United States to stop them from polluting America, which we found out was the cause of death of Jordan Machin's wife. So
creating their own America,
right? Their own version of America in the heartland of America, which I have my own issues with that plan. It's a little over the top for me. It's a little cartoony, I think.
I'm okay
than originally what I thought it might have been. What I was speculating it to be. Holding on to something like that for 9 episodes and it turns out just to be mind control. I'm just like, I don't know.
What did you expect it to be? What was your...
Well, early on, I was like, I don't know if they're going to, like try to wipe out a portion of America or like lock down a portion of America. It was, but because it kept going on and on and on for 9 episodes, I was like, it has to be something bigger than that. It has to be something more substantial. Like there's some nuanced big plan at play here, and it's just kind of we're going to mind control.
I thought
people.
It would be.
Like, oh, well.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I thought it'd be almost like all of America, but then it's just like these
right.
Six states.
It's these 6 states that are like loosely, so like not very densely populated at all. Like not that district. That's not that many people. You're not
6. Okay, cool. That's neat. That's 12 senators. Okay.
It's like
neat. I wanted it to be more. I agree with you. I figured it would be kind of like mind control or some sort, but I just thought it would be like on a much larger scale.
Yeah, that's fair, because they always said the brainwave is important and they couldn't move forward because he was in a coma. But we get here and it's just like, well, that's it. That
you
was
just need him for
kept,
6 states.
But I think my issue is you kept that close to the vest for 9 episodes. So I was like, well, there's only 4 left, and that's what it is.
I mean, Henry might get you like 3 states. I don't know about 6 though. That's just a
Well,
lot.
I'm just, I don't
You're
even.
asking a lot.
That was this whole thing. I guess we can transition from that to the icicle moment where,
Yeah, the subplot.
Right, so Courtney's mom's at work and goes to talk to Jordan, who seems a little down. They're talking. He's very excited, but also kind of sad that he's moving on with Project New America because, it reminds him of his wife, and he's kind of down at the dumps. And so she invites him over for dinner. Obviously, we know that he is Icicle and Courtney is Stargirl, so there's, that tension of a dinner on the way. And then, to Courtney's surprise, Jordan shows up. She, at the moment, has no idea, but she's nervous because his son, Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Cameron shows up, and they're obviously supposed to go to the dance together, and he has a thing for her for sure, and she's seemed to reciprocate that a little bit. So she's a nervous, high school teenager, which makes for its own, bit of comedy. But, we know, the eyes of the audience, it's a much deeper issue at hand. And I do enjoy how it came out that she figures out that he's Icicle. In the episode, I thought that was clever. I thought it was clever that, he doesn't even realize what's happening because he just has his abilities and he wouldn't know whether it was hot or not. And she's, has the forethought to pay attention. But it's more like, it was very reminiscent to me of the scene in the diner a few episodes ago with Jordan and Cameron, which was very awkward and out of place. I don't know if it's just this group of people, like, interacting with maybe just Courtney's group of people, that they don't really mesh well. Maybe their personalities. I don't know. It was just giving off weird vibes to me.
Do you mean like the Ma Kents interacting with like
right, with the Whitmores and just it feels like not two different shows, but maybe just two different. They're very different styles, and it was it just gave off a very awkward vibe.
I agree with that, but I feel like it was kind of like it was meant to give off that awkward vibe because
yes, it was, and of course
it's like
these
Meet the Parents
yes,
type
these
thing
scenes
where
are
it's
supposed
like,
to, but it was more of like it wasn't like I was in on it. It was kind of like I was watching it, and it's still like feeling awkward.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. It's just neither part of the episode really shined through for me. Like the brainwave stuff didn't shine through, the icicle part didn't shine through, but it's the reveal that now Courtney knows who Icicle is was just like, I wanted it to be kind of this like, oh my gosh moment, but it was kind of more like, oh my god, he's Icicle. Oh, all right, cool. It didn't have that like wow factor I kind of wanted to have, you know?
And you get that cliche moment of him coming up and be like, you know why I was really here? And obviously you think he knows and she thinks he knows, but then he actually doesn't. It's when, they did the same thing with Shiv last week, where she comes up and we think that she knows and that she actually doesn't know, but they flip it on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of
like, oh, we do know.
And like, I'm a really big fan of Icicle. I think he's a really good villain so far. I just, for whatever reason, the scenes he's having with his family and stuff just really aren't working for me. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on like what it is particularly.
Maybe it's because like he is such like a menacing kind of like villain, and then to see him like have these like smaller like family moments, it just feels kind of like odd.
Yeah, they're sympathizing him, and I can understand that, and I can see that for sure, and I do feel bad for him at points. His wife was killed and all these things, but like moments where like they're doing the weird was it Norwegian grace that was obviously an evil with their evil group of people, and the son isn't in on it, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be funny, but it's like really just kind of cringy. And it's just stuff like that really didn't, hit me hard.
Right.
I guess we can jump to a couple more things. One thing I wanted to jump out, I know you wanted to talk about was the reveal of the 7 Soldiers of Victory.
Yeah, I really thought that was cool in the way it was done. That like reveal, like we weren't just part of the Just Side of America. I thought it's kind of cool to like, I love when these have these like really like deep cut moments in these shows where it's like, no one knows who the 7. Like if you bring up the 7 Soldiers of Victory, do you know who the 7 Soldiers of Victory were before the show came out?
Well, here's the thing: I knew of those 7 different characters.
You knew the characters.
I never knew like those 7 characters were a team called the 7 Soldiers of Victory.
Like no one knows. Everyone knows like Green Arrow, but like, do you know like that he was on that team? Like that's
right? No, I know. I'm a huge Arrow
like,
fan. I know a lot about Green Arrow. I had no earthly idea that team ever existed.
We know you love Green Arrow, Jackson.
I love Green Arrow.
We know you do. But then to have like these like really niche moments is like it's so cool for me as like a comics fan. And I thought the way it was done done in the episodes really well. That like the image of all of them together, I will say when Shining Knight shows up, I needed to have a much better costume.
That is rough costume. Everyone else looked okay. Even Green Arrow and Speedy, who had kind of they're very old. I need
something
Silver Age costumes.
Little better.
His was rough, and obviously these photos that they've been showing, which they've shown for the JSA, the ISA, and now the Seven Soldiers of Victory, they're not like fully finished, complete outfits. But that one was, you could tell, was just rough off the bat.
Rough. I need that to be updated.
I do want to bring up a point about that photo, though.
What?
How old is Pat?
I'm glad you brought that
Luke
up.
Wilson appears in the Seven Soldiers of Victory photo and the JSA photo from with the time that Sylvester is a young boy into a grown Joel McHale. He looks the same age. To now, he looks the same age.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Why wasn't Stripesy a kid
discuss that?
when that happened?
I need some discussion with that. I need that to be broken down a little bit.
Why wasn't Stripesy a child? Why was he running around?
It was in black and white. There's just a lot going on there, and I need it to be like, I just need to see his driver's license. I need to see something. I need them to have Pat's birthday party. I need to know how old he is,
because I was like, this is clearly they were fighting in the early 2000s. Let's just say like the 90s to the 2000s. The JSA were together. So then this would have been in the 80s, right? So Sylvester was born around the 70s? That's fair, right? That's fair. He was born around the mid-70s.
I'll take that.
Pat is a grown man in the 80s.
Yeah, he was their mechanic. He was their mechanic, he said.
Is he?
So he's at least, what, maybe like...
Was he born...
Maybe like 20s or something?
Was he born in 1960?
I don't know.
Is he a 60-year-old man?
Is Courtney's mom a cougar? What's going on here? Oh, no, that's wrong.
I'm just confused.
I need this to be broken down a little bit.
I'm just confused as to why they couldn't have just gotten a kid, a teenager-ish, someone to dress up with the stripes.
That looks kind of like...
Looks kind of anything like Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't work. What is going on?
I need that to be talked about.
Okay, no.
But you know what? Now we're kind of bringing that up, his past and everything, but also I want to talk about the other big reveal in this episode that was at the very end.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to show.
The reveal that Courtney's mom now knows that something's going on and that she is Stargirl.
Right, finally.
Finally. I'm glad they did it too. I was worried they were going to like still keep the secret going.
The worst part about superhero shows, and it's almost every show's been plagued by it, is the supporting characters not knowing the hero is a superhero.
Do you know how many problems in shows could be resolved if there weren't secrets all the time?
It took 7 seasons of Smallville for Lana Lang to find out that Clark was Superman. 7 seasons. They were together for 7 seasons, like involved together, like even romantically or hanging out or friends or whatever. It took that long. It took his best friend Chloe 4 seasons of 22 episodes to find out that he was Superman. It took Pete, I think, 2 or 3 seasons to find out, and it was like, oh my god. And like every time he'd be like, she can't know. And it's like, she hates you now because you either blew her off because you were off doing Superman things, or you can't explain something because you saved her life miraculously and you won't tell her how. And it's just like, please, this is so frustrating. So I'm so glad that they're finally just giving in and just allowing these people to know. I don't care if Mike ever finds out. That's whatever. But the mom not knowing and these people that don't know, and you have these awkward scenes every week of like, oh, she was driving. We were doing a driving test. She failed a math test.
She failed a history exam. Oh my god.
It's like, oh, please.
I have this major thing to tell you that might change your life. Right. I failed a history exam. Just tell her. Just tell her.
Please.
And that's one reason that I really like Pat in this show, is that he wanted to tell her like 2 episodes ago.
Always wants to be the realist in this show.
He really is. He's like my connection to the real world in this show. Even though he's dealing with all these things, he has like the most logical conclusions to things. We should just tell him. We can't do that. Why not? Why can't we tell her?
Can we just tell them?
Thank you, Pat.
And now they know that her boss is a murderer. So maybe you should tell her.
I feel like she should definitely know that. That's like a major thing.
So, thank you. And I'm ready for the moment where they get to spill it all. And he's like, I was in the JSA and she's in the JSA, and I was a grown man hanging out with a kid back in the Seven Soldiers of Victory, and
I was 50 years old, working as this man's mechanic / butler dude.
Listen, whatever was going on with Sylvester and Pat, I don't want to know. But
I'm actually 100 years old. I don't want to bring this up.
Clearly, but so
I need to talk about in the first 5 minutes of next week's episode. I need it.
I would like to
immediately
know why
talked about
Luke Wilson, not someone else. But okay, you got any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
On pretty much everything we said. This episode was a bit of a miss for me. Had some moments. 7 Soldiers of Victory. The reveal that Courtney is Stargirl. I'm really hoping the next episode is a bit better, and I just want some more like whoa moments. You know, I'm thinking we're gonna get it because I know the episode after is Shining Knight, so I'm expecting him to show up in like the last minutes of the episode. But I want something more. You know. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just hoping this brainwave thing starts to expand a little bit and get a little more deep dive, so we don't just kind of, oh no, I hear horrible things, I'm angry, I'm gonna kill people. It's like, no, that's, it's the same thing with Rick. No, I get you're angry, but stop just punching things. Like, come on, have a little more to say. So yeah, I'm just hoping they take that in the proper direction, like they did Shiv when they handled her really well, and they made me completely flip on the Cindy character, and now I'm excited to see where she goes rather than being kind of indifferent on it. So I hope they're able to do the same thing with Henry for me. But I think that's it. So, Jacob, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at JacobCamp13, and you can also find us at Comic Corner _.
Nope.
Marcos edits it. It will be in.
Cut that. All right, you can find me on Twitter at JacksonHay67. You can follow the page at Full Circle Cine, CINE. And make sure to check out FullCircleCinema.com and like, subscribe, and comment on this video with your thoughts on Brainwave.
Yeah, play the episode in a tab on your computer. Leave it playing.
Sure.
Just let it sit there. Open 3 tabs. Go for it.
All right.
Won't judge.
We will catch you next week.
Peace.